rAVe Radio. With rants and rAVes, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is Rants and rAVes with Gary K.
Hey everyone, this is Gary K, and thanks for joining me for this edition of my Rants and rAVes video cast. Today I'm joined with Gina Sansivero, who happens to be the VP of Marketing and Corporate Communications for AtlasIED, but Gina and I have known each other for 20 years.
Thanks for that.
I know I'm not supposed to say that. We've known each other a long time. I mean, it's amazing your journey. Talk about how you got into the industry.
Oh my gosh. I got into the industry a bunch of years ago because I was looking for a new challenge in marketing, and I had seen a position for this incubator company, this R&D startup that was really focused on projection light engines and creating a user replaceable projection light engine. And I said, I have no idea what I'm getting myself into, but a startup sounds like a ton of fun and a real challenge, and let me dive in. And for some reason, they hired me, and I fell in love with the industry. So that was kind of how I started, and I've had a couple of turns along the way, but marketing has always been my love and my passion, and where my career has started, and clearly where it's going.
Well, I think I would think, well, first off, everyone probably has heard AtlasIED, whether or not they've used AtlasIED. If you've gone to an amusement park or an airport, you've heard AtlasIED for sure, because they dominate those two segments of the market. But they also do a tremendous amount of corporate AV, meeting room AV, live events stuff even. And AtlasIED can be found at AtlasIED.com, which is a combination of two different companies. I remember when all that occurred. I'm curious, obviously, let's talk about Atlas really quickly, but I have a lot of questions for you personally and your involvement in the industry and rAVe and some of the other, the NSCA Educational Foundation and things like that. But I want to talk about Atlas, give you a little plug for Atlas for a second, for those that aren't using Atlas, because I think a lot of people are intimidated by the kind of audio Atlas is famous for doing, which is that PA announcement with background music playing every once in a while, but also security mass communications audio too. I know that's in the heart of the company, but you all, with the Atmosphere system, you really transformed the company.
Oh, heck yeah. That was a really fun launch, because it took at the time, the company was 86 years old. So it took an 86-year-old company, and it really made it relevant again, right? I mean, Atlas, to your point, AtlasIED had maintained relevance throughout the years as a kind of PA background music company, but this really was our step in maintaining a relevance with a brand new type of product and brand new line. And that came, I don't know that a lot of people even know this story, but that became John Ivy's kind of legacy. He took the company over from his father, Lloyd. And one of the first things that he did was he flew out to Elkhart, Indiana, and he said, I'm going to kind of grab a bunch of these old, Crown and BSS guys. And next thing you know, they're building, he basically said, do what you want. I need a new solution and you need jobs, right? So he basically told them to build a new platform for AtlasIED, and they did. Within 2 years, that became Atmosphere. And then we went to go launch it, and the pandemic hit, and we had one of the most fun, one of the most successful launches in company history by kind of, I hate this word, but pivoting last minute from an InfoComm launch to a kind of hybrid live virtual launch at a theater in St. Louis.
Yeah, with Tim Albright. I remember that.
With Tim Albright.
Yep. And it worked out really well. Tell them about what Atmosphere does. I mean, you're on Atmosphere 2, right? Isn't it 2.0?
We are going to be releasing Atmosphere 4.0 at InfoComm this year.
See, there you go. I'm a whole version behind. You're on 2.0. So 4.0 comes out at InfoComm. All right, cool. What is 4.0? Tell us what it is.
So Atmosphere 4.0 kind of is a firmware update that enables us to create additional capabilities and features for the Atmosphere platform. The Atmosphere platform is essentially a DSP platform, right? But the real crux of it, the real power behind it, is the user interface, is the software that's been developed for it. Because while we have all of these pieces of hardware, it would be nothing without that software. And we keep on adding capabilities and features. So 4.0 introduces Dante, which is a really big deal for us.
That means that anything can go out that puts you truly in corporate AV, background music, in any kind of installation.
Exactly.
Restaurants, bars. I mean, there's so many places that's going to put you in.
Yep. So and it was a big request from the beginning, right? We launched the platform in 2020, and at that moment, people were like, "Oh my gosh, does it have Dante?" And we're like, "Hold on." And now it's here. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. I do want to turn our attention, and John's a great guy. And Lloyd, of course, built a heck of a company. But I want to turn our attention a little bit to some of the things that I know you're passionate about. I mean, obviously, I can feel your passion in the company and the products you represent. But I also know that one of the passions is sort of fixing some of the issues that you had to go through coming up into the industry. And a big part of that is you have been involved with Women in AV and the Avixa's Women's Council, but you are all currently serving as the president of rAVe. Talk about rAVe.
So rAVe was born about a year and a half ago when a bunch of industry women kind of decided that the women's councils that we were a part of were excellent at creating the network that you need in order to feel like you are not the only one here, in order to feel like there is representation, in order to feel like you have somebody to go to who really understands you, right? But there's not a whole lot of action when it comes to outreach to try to bring additional women in, to give women who are already in the industry the skill set that they need in order to progress through their career. We are missing a lot of women in executive positions and management positions and leadership positions. And so rAVe was born of the desire to help educate existing women to find their career path and find their leadership skills, to create outreach and have other young ladies in STEM and other business related tracks find the AV industry, and then also to really kind of empower the women to utilize their networks to help others and build that community. So that's kind of where we're at and why it started. And we have some really great things going on. If you don't mind, I'll kind of tell you a little bit about a couple of them.
Yeah, please do.
So we've partnered with NSCA at InfoComm to have the NSCA is kind of helping to co-sponsor the Tweet Up this year. I don't know if you knew that. So that's a really exciting change for the AV Nation Tweet Up. And in doing so, they're inviting a couple of other member organizations or affiliate organizations like rAVe and Save to help them kind of pack that house at the Tweet Up. And so the rAVe will have a little space inside of the Tweet Up for a membership kind of get together and networking to make sure that we have that representation and that safe place at InfoComm. So that's really exciting. We've also partnered with some of the labor providers up here in the Northeast, and they've put together a softball tournament. And this softball tournament will be going on in May in a few weeks. And all of the fundraising from that will go towards the rAVe Outreach Committee, which is the part of the organization that does the outreach and education to the young ladies in STEM.
Yeah, I was just reading about that. I think they're playing off the movie A League of Their Own a little bit with that promotion. I think it's pretty creative. And I think it's I'm my founding partner of rAVe one time told me that the reason why she's not an active member in these groups is that she hopes for the day we don't even need these groups. When do you think we'll be at a place? I mean, certainly it's a lot different than when I first got in the industry and when you first got in the industry, where you go to a show like InfoComm or an event like the NSCA BLC and you'd see maybe 5% women and no minorities. it's definitely changed. How close, where are we now? We definitely see a difference when we go to these shows.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with her. I hope for that day when we'll never need them. The thing is, I still think we're decades behind. I
Yeah.
really do. And so by sitting back and doing nothing, we'll be a century behind. We have
Yeah.
to do something. This industry is not going to maintain relevance. It's not going to weather storms. It's not going to be as nimble if we have the same looking people all the time. And don't get me wrong, ton of handsome people, but the same looking people all the time will not help the industry because they tend to think similarly, they tend to act similarly and react
create an
similarly.
echo chamber. Yeah, you create an echo chamber. Definitely, I agree with that. And as a dad of 2 daughters, I know I've heard the struggle from them. Annabelle would come to InfoComm and intern with us, and it would turn into a lot of invites to parties and receptions and things like that, rather than getting the support to get the work done. So I know that's been, and that's something that I've heard that from everybody, people that I've hired that have come in. I've heard that from our interns, it's from all different levels of the industry. I'm really appreciative of what you're doing, as a dad of 2 daughters, and certainly that changed me, right? I mean, when you have kids and they're experiencing those things, you start seeing things differently. And I think it's amazing how people like you and Megan and others in the industry have really stepped up to do that. And I appreciate that. And that's why one of the reasons I wanted to have you on today. But one last I guess it's kind of a weighty question, but I'm kind of curious how you respond to this. Having known you for a lot of years, my experience with you has been very creative marketing and very driven. So I know that you're not at AtlasIED accidentally. And obviously a lot has changed since you've been there. You've transformed the company from, as you kind of mentioned, an 80-year-old company that was doing a bunch of audio stuff into a company that's really more of a systems-based company. If we were to look forward, I know knowing you, I know you're going to be there a lot longer and you're going to set a lot of direction for the company. If you were to look forward, a decade from now, what kind of company is AtlasIED going to be? What's your vision?
So, Gary, this is such an exciting question because we definitely have a goal, right? We definitely know what we're working towards. And, part of that is what you see today. Part of that is transformative.
Yeah.
And then part of that is people. So you see that we're adding a ton of new talent. We're going to keep on adding Michael Bridwell. I mean, it's a huge gain for us. And we're going to keep on focusing on kind of acquiring that kind of talent and that kind of persona in the industry. I think that's going to be really important to push us forward. You're going to see that we're going to have a huge focus on software. Surprise, surprise, like every other company to a certain extent. But in order to maintain our relevance, we are going in that direction. Now, what we're also doing, as you know, is really doubling down on the security side of things. It was funny. I was at ISC West, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. And we were at a reception and I turned to my VP of sales, Michael Peebler, and I said, Michael, I have to learn how to network again. I don't know a lot of people in this industry. So what's really exciting for me personally and for me professionally is really bringing Atlas to a different position within a new industry. And I love AV. AV was where I was born and raised. It's where my heart lives. But gosh, can you imagine building your company all over again in a different industry?
Yeah.
That's what I get to do from a marketing standpoint. So this is a really exciting transition for me.
Yeah. And what's interesting is we saw this coming. We started talking about adding a security newsletter 2 years ago, but with the pandemic and all the sort of recovery stuff, we weren't sure exactly the best timing. We ended up launching it last October, November timeframe. One of the sponsors is AtlasIED. You can subscribe to that. If you're interested in either cybersecurity or physical security, or even curious about it, or potentially wanting to go that direction, go to rAVepubs.com, click on the subscribe button. You can subscribe to it because that newsletter is specifically in and around that. And I appreciate you supporting that. We hope to help you get that out there. And we see that as a big part of our business. And we're partnered with some great companies with that, as you know, ADI as well. But I wish you the best. I mean, I think this is really cool. I'm excited to see 4.0. I must have been excited to see 3.0 too, but 4.0 is even going to be better with Dante. That just makes total sense. And I think y'all have done a phenomenal job with Atmosphere. It's one of the best sort of turnkey system approaches to managing audio that I've seen in the industry. And I'm really impressed with everything y'all are doing. And I appreciate you coming on here, Gina, because I know you're really busy and you're preparing for a vacation. So you're willing to take some time before you go out on vacation.
I'm super excited about my vacation. I don't take a lot of vacations, but when I do, I just, I choose something that's really unique and different for me, not something that I've done a million times before. So last year I went sailing. I learned how to sail.
Wow.
And then this year I'm going to Portugal with my sister.
Well,
so really,
you're going to have a
excited.
great time. You're going to have a great time. It's a great time of year to go. Beautiful weather, great food. Well, look, enjoy yourself, get refreshed, because when you come back, you're going to be like less than a month away from InfoComm. So you're going to be right in the thick of it. And everybody's going to be asking you for answers, because they're going to be wanting to know what things are supposed to look like and where things are supposed to go.
For sure. For sure. You know it.
Look, I hope that you'll connect with Gina. If you haven't already, just click on her name anywhere you're seeing this video cast right now. It's linked and tagged in all the social media platforms. And check out AtlasIED at AtlasIED.com. Gina, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you, Gary. This is a great catch up. I really appreciate you asking me.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching, everybody.
With Rants and rAVes, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is Rants and rAVes.